Hey everyone, this is Hannah with the Rocket Miner giving you today's video update. Today we have some new updates and developments as far as COVID-19 goes in Wyoming and here in Sweetwater County. As far as the state numbers for Wyoming, today the Wyoming Department of Health is reporting that we have 856 lab-confirmed cases with 646 recoveries. We have 223 probable cases with 192 recoveries. So this gives us up to date a total of 1,079 cases, and with all of those numbers and everything added together, we have about 241 active cases here in Wyoming right now. This is up quite a bit from where we have been and where we were last time I gave the numbers in the update. The last video I did was on Thursday, and I gave an update on the numbers, and since then the active cases have gone up by 46. So we've had a pretty significant increase in active cases here in the state as total over the past few days. Then today we also learned that here in Sweetwater County we've had a growth in our case numbers. So we had 7 new cases over this past week, and right now for Sweetwater County there's a total of 10 cases that are currently active. So today the Sweetwater County District Board of Health gave us an update, and they reported that our total number of cases has grown, as I said, by 7, and that's in the last week since last Monday, June 8th. We have had a total of 32 known positive cases locally, and out of those 32, we have 10 right now that are active cases, and 22 patients have now fully recovered. Up till now, we've had 3 patients that have been hospitalized locally, and each of them was treated and released. The 3rd patient that had been hospitalized from COVID-19 was released just a few days ago, which we're glad to hear that. And thankfully, we haven't had any county residents that have died related to COVID-19. So looking at the 7 new cases that we've had in the past week, one's exposure is likely tied to recent domestic travel, they reported. 4 are linked to other local known positive cases, and 2 of the new cases are likely due to community spread and are indeterminable as far as specifically how they came into contact with it. So most of them linked to other cases that we already knew about, but a few that we're not sure could have just been through the community, and one that's related to travel. The press release that we got from the Board of Health that was giving us these numbers also gave us some more interesting statistics just about COVID-19 and the cases that we've seen here locally. They reported that from March 24th to April 30th, which was through the height of statewide restrictions, Sweetwater County recorded 11 total positive cases, and one of those was the non-resident who tested positive while he was traveling through the area, so that case doesn't count in our county and our state totals. But for that time period, we had 11 total cases. And since the softening of the restrictions on May 1st up till now, the county has recorded 22 total positive cases. So for that little bit over a month when we were pretty locked down, Wyoming was never completely locked down like some other places have been, but during our most strict restrictions that we saw in our state, during that month we had 11, and then for the month and a half since then we've had 22. So pretty exactly double the amount since we eased up on the restrictions, which I thought was an interesting statistic to look at. Their press release had a few other statistics about local COVID-19 cases, looking at like the percentages by gender and age groups, and looking at people's symptoms that they reported. So those were all interesting. You can check those out on rocketminer.com. We shared the story and it has those statistics in it. Just interesting to look at the numbers and where our county's at and how we're doing. So just that reminder that right now we currently have 10 active cases in our county. Today is of course June 15th, so that's the date that the new public health orders officially go into effect. And again, with each phase of the public health orders, we've just seen kind of a easing of restrictions, and there's a lot more openness within these health orders. The biggest restrictions are just on really big gatherings or big indoor gatherings especially. So lots of things right now are pretty open and pretty able to operate freely. Of course, there are still a lot of social distancing regulations in place, and lots of those aren't even strictly enforced but are really strongly encouraged and suggested. Governor Mark Gordon and State Health Officer Dr. Alexia Harris are going to be giving another media briefing and update on where our state's at with COVID-19. They're going to be doing that tomorrow at 4 p.m. So you can watch that on all the Wyoming PBS pages, their Facebook and YouTube, and we will share it on our page as well, so you can see what Governor Gordon and Dr. Harris have to say as far as where we're at right now and going forward into this next stage and what they expect. So although we still have this ongoing threat from COVID-19 and there are still active cases and we're still having some public health orders and restrictions on the things we do, despite that, Wyoming is still moving forward and reopening, and as we really get started into summer, there are lots of summer events that are planned. Lots of people weren't sure about what this summer was going to look like because of the virus and because of social distancing, but thanks to where we're at as a state right now and the current plans we have, a lot of things are able to go forward. Of course, a lot of things have had to change. Lots of our bigger summer events like rodeos and fairs are going to look a little different this year. We won't be able to have as big of events as we usually have, and lots of those are just because they have to be planned so far in advance that it's impossible to put them together this short notice. But there are still a lot of options going on around Wyoming, and then locally here in Sweetwater County we have a lot of the things that we're used to seeing during the summer that are coming back and going forward and that we'll be able to do. So I wanted to share just a few of the events, highlight some of the ones I've heard about recently and some of the big ones that are really popular in our community that are going to be going forward and continuing this summer. So we have some of our summer concert series. There's the concert in the park at Bunning Park on Wednesday nights. Those have already started. There have been a few, and then those are going to continue throughout the rest of the summer. Then the Brown Bag concert series is also going to be starting up on July 7th. So there will be those two different concert series that are happening throughout the summer. We have a few other events planned. There's a community water balloon fight on June 20th in Bunning Park that's hosted by Dune Days. We heard today that there will be a 4th of July celebration with games, music, and fireworks that will be hosted by the City of Rock Springs. Our Main Street Farmers Market in downtown Rock Springs is coming back and is scheduled to start on July 9th. And then the annual Sweetwater Blues and Brews Festival is scheduled for August 8th this year. So we'll be working on keeping our calendar and our things to do list updated to let you know what's going on and when and where these events are happening and what options you have for activities that you can do throughout the summer. And obviously this summer is a little different and these events will probably look a little bit different. Social distancing is still being encouraged at places like the Concert in the Park series. And we would just encourage everyone to keep taking precautions, even though Wyoming is opening up and we have so much more freedom now and ability to do these events that we weren't sure that we'd be able to. That's really exciting, but we also need to remember, as we looked at the numbers already, and our cases as a state and in our county have been going up again. So I would just encourage everyone to keep that in mind and remember that the virus is still a real threat and we need to keep taking precautions. Don't go to these events and places if you're sick, even if you think it's just a cold. don't go out there and spread your germs to other people, just to be safe. Do things like wear a mask, wash your hands, sanitize surfaces that are touched, keep your distance from other people. Just do these things to stay respectful and kind, and just everyone doing their part to cut down on the spread is going to really help with those numbers and keeping them down. So we are excited that in Wyoming we are doing pretty good on the whole and opening things, and we have these opportunities to have these events this summer that we normally enjoy. We're happy we'll be able to enjoy them again this year. But I want just to encourage everyone not to take it for granted. It is a privilege and a special thing that we will be able to do these this summer, and we definitely want to be able to enjoy them, but also just keep in mind that other people in other places can't enjoy things quite as freely as we can, and just keep being respectful of trying to keep other people safe and keep our community safe so that we can keep the numbers down so that we can continue to have and to enjoy these events. So thank you for listening, and keep checking back with us for more updates about news and COVID and the events that are coming up. We'll keep updating you. I hope you have a good night.